Well, it's hot. The weekend's been hot. Monday's hot. And I've been having conversations throughout. I had a really nasty Saturday. I woke up feeling incredibly negative about this. I don't know how many calls last week. Quite a few people. Some people that were quite in the in crowd. They were probably paid by Soul Survivor, and then a bunch of people who never felt like they were part of the interest. They were never part of it. And lots of people have been saying the inner circle. And the thing that I've been learning is that so many of the stories, so much of the rhetoric can be reflected throughout the sort of church I grew up calling a familiar church. I had a really interesting conversation with a friend. He's a bishop from a different country, and he's currently writing a paper, and he said to me, "Sam, you're right, you're looking to make something that isn't just about a single organisation, that isn't just about a single church. You're looking to make something that is challenging what even Christianity is." And he phoned me up at something like midnight. We spoke for an hour. I got up at 6:30 the next day. But I knew I needed to speak with him, and I think all of these stories seem to be universal in what we called familiar church. I've spoken about confusing this thing with a cult is just too reductive. I've spoken about normalization of a culture. But I think really what Soul Survivor is a case study of how everyone gets it wrong with this structure. I was talking to my parents. Like most people, they introduced me to church, to Christianity, and the boomers responded to the Church of England or Baptist churches with the new church. Is it new church? Home church, something like that. Oh, house church. And their thing was like, there's not the relational side of Christianity expressed in church. And they did this in the 70s, 80s, and it became hugely popular. And what I'm looking at and examining is the kind of growth of that, the progression of that into the 90s, where I was a teenager. And it's just stopped there. It stopped doing anything useful in the late 90s. And even a conversation I had today, there was a pause button probably in like 95, 96, and it's just been on pause. So you listen to the music, it's really familiar. It's almost like a nostalgia for me whenever I go back to church. You hear the talks, they're very familiar. The style is very familiar. The way a church service is performed is very familiar. And all of these things don't feel like a life-giving response to the gospel. And the chap I was chatting with that midnight, he said, where's Jesus in this? And for me, that's the question. Where is Jesus in this? The thing I'm also challenged by, and I've had a grotty weekend, as I mentioned, is because everyone is saying, yeah, you're doing something really important, but they don't want to speak to me. They might want to speak, but they want to keep their names out of it. They want to talk to me, but they don't want to be on camera. The power really exists still, where people feel, even someone today said, I don't want to speak about this because I don't want my name to be out there, because it might do my child a disservice in their work. I was thinking, oh my goodness, what is this thing? So I feel kind of compelled after today, a couple of conversations, to think actually I'm kind of on track to do something, but oh my goodness, it's flipping sludgy. So anyway, that's another quick thing. No one's really talking about this at all though, and I don't understand why's no one else talking about this. Soul Survivor completely got it wrong. It's an example of how not to do it. It shows we shouldn't be doing it like that, and it's a complete bastardisation of what church can be, should be, and hopefully will be. So I'm going to continue looking at this. A bunch of people complicit in allowing it to grow. Some of the people I'm speaking to were complicit. I was complicit because I signed up because I thought and believed it was something that would enable my growth, or, as I said before, adventure, or mission, or even purpose. But I was complicit because I paid. I created this kind of the transactional thing. If I pay, I go there and I get to do this. You buy the book. It's like self-help. For goodness sake, this stuff's such bullshit. Anyway, I'm kind of at the point where I'm quite slapdash about it. I've got a few other projects that I'd love to do. I kind of need people to start saying, yeah, okay, let's get filming. Because if I don't have people, it's just me doing this. And this wasn't my aim. I was hoping to make a film that looked beautiful, that was nuanced, that had depth to it, that challenged the system. And looked at power, and looked at manipulation, and looked at the flipping hypocrisy that seems to be throughout nearly every single story and thing. It was the challenge I used to get at school by friends. Oh, why am I interested in going to church? You're all a bunch of hypocrites. Yeah, we flipping are. At least flipping admit we're being hypocrites. Oh my goodness, why don't we admit it? We've got to admit it. We've got it wrong. We always get it wrong because we're people. Get relationships wrong, and you don't. You get your job wrong. You get your flipping diet wrong. You get your exercise wrong. You don't cut your grass at the right time, or you do. Yeah, for goodness sake, everything we do we get wrong, and yet we can't say that within a church context at all. So we're hypocrites.